warm welcome to the 33rd Secretary of Agriculture.
Hi, everybody! Oh, good job. Thank you. Hello, hello, hello. Who's excited to be here today? All right. Y'all, please sit down. What a joy to be here. Listen, normally when I'm introduced and someone says Texas A&M, there's at least one or two whoops. Okay, I knew there had to be we are at the Commodity Classic, right? There's got to be a few Aggies out there. Thank you, Jesse, and thank you to the host of this incredible convention, the National Corn Growers, the American Soybean Association, the National Sorghum Producers, the National Association of Wheat Growers, and the Association of Equipment Manufacturers. Y'all, help me give them a round of applause for making all of this possible. Well, what a joy to be here with all of you and a blessing here in the beautiful state of Colorado with hundreds of our farmers. It looks like thousands to me. Hundreds of our farmers who feed our nation, proudly fly our great American flag. Who flies the great American flag? Let's go. And place our trust in the Almighty God. Who places their trust in the Almighty God? I bet every single one of us here. As we gather in the Rocky Mountain State and our prayers, obviously first let me say this. I don't know if we have any North Carolinians or South Carolinians in the room. We've got a few of y'all. Our prayers are with you and your states. As I'm sure you all know, the wildfire season is beginning and there are major wildfires out there. So our prayers are with you. Our team is actively monitoring the situation and will continue to respond. But I think as we continue to look across this great country, as my boss, President Donald Trump, is working to make America great again, my job is to make agriculture great again. Who's with me? Who's with me? On this beautiful Sunday evening, I went to church this morning in Fort Worth with my family, but immediately got on a plane to come here and be with you to deliver a couple of pieces of news, but more importantly, the vision that we have in this new White House and this new administration and this new leadership at the United States Department of Agriculture on what we see the next 4 years looking like. I also have a special message from our President, Donald Trump, who I speak with very regularly. The last time we spoke, which was very recently, he wants all of you to know that he hears you. He knows that times have been tough over the last 4 years. He will not forget you, and he will never stop fighting for you, and neither will I. As your newly confirmed Secretary of Agriculture just 2 weeks ago, everyone, this is my 5th state, by the way, I will be your greatest champion in Washington, second only to the President. I will make sure that your voice is heard, and my team will be available to answer your calls 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And if our team is not, you get me their name, because you may have heard we're doing a little bit of reduction in force across the federal government. So it's a new day. It is a new day, and we are here to serve you. And we are standing on your shoulders, our farmers and our ranchers, and our entire department, all 106,000 employees, will be there to take your calls and make sure we're fighting for you every single day. Thank you. I know that I am a new face to many of you in the ag community. I haven't made my living doing the righteous and incredible work that you all do every day, but agriculture and ranching have formed the foundation of my life since the very beginning. I grew up in the small town of Glen Rose, Texas. Any Texans in here? Oh my goodness, we gotta get more Texans to this show. Holy cow, someone called Governor Abbott. I grew up in the small town of Glen Rose, Texas, population 1,200 at the time. I spent my summers on our family's row crop farm in Minnesota. Are there more Minnesotans here? Oh, there we go, there we go. I spent the year baling hay and riding horses, raising livestock through 4-H and FFA. And I was raised by a single mom in Glen Rose, Texas, where she made $5 an hour and supported my sisters and me with her job at the public library in downtown Glen Rose. My exposure to agriculture and my involvement in the future farmers of America are the reason that I am standing here today. So to me, serving as your Secretary of Ag isn't simply a job. It is a privilege, it is a calling, and it is an honor of a lifetime. Because I truly believe with every fiber of my being that you, the farmers and ranchers and producers of America, are the backbone of this great nation. You wake up before the sun rises and work long hours in the heat, the rain, the snow, and the sleet. You weather drought and floods and blizzards and windstorms and plagues and all kinds of events that you can neither predict nor control. You raise the crops that nourish our citizens and millions and tens of millions and hundreds of millions of people around the world. You till the soil and care for the land that is one of God's greatest blessings to this beautiful country. Over the last 4 years, our farmers were often overlooked by Washington, D.C., as circumstances became more and more dire across our great countryside. As a result, the state of the ag economy, especially for row crop producers, is perhaps the worst it's been in 100 years. And I hear you when you tell me that. The department's latest net farm income update showed the decline in crop cash receipts over the last 2 years as the largest in recorded history. Farm inputs are up nearly 30% over the last 5 years, while prices for corn, soybean, sorghum, and wheat have plummeted by 30% or more over the last 3 years alone. The agriculture trade deficit is set to hit a record $49 billion in 2025. That is money directly from your bottom line. Fortunately, the era of economic malaise and decision paralysis ended the day that President Donald Trump took office. Today, I am here to share with you my vision for America's heartland. Working alongside each of you, we are going to chart a new course for American agriculture. We will not accept the failed policies of the past as excuses for what we can and must achieve over the next 4 years. We will not tolerate needless delays or layers of bureaucracy to get you the answers that you need and you deserve. And we won't stop at repairing systems that have long been broken. We will usher in a new era of prosperity and opportunity, innovation and revitalization in rural America. To be clear, farmers are among the greatest innovators in our nation. It is the federal government that needs to learn from all of you. The story of American agriculture is always about doing more with less. In my mother's lifetime, my amazing 78-year-old mom who was just elected to the Texas legislature for the first time at 78, down there fighting also for our ag producers. During her lifetime, total farm output has nearly tripled, while total input use, such as land and labor, has declined. In my lifetime, the amount of feed a dairy cow needs to produce 100 pounds of milk has decreased by more than 40%. And during this time, stewardship of our land has decreased soil erosion by 50%. And in my 2 daughters and my 2 sons' lifetime, Luke, Jake, Anna, and Lily, cattlemen have added another 100 pounds of beef to a carcass. Meanwhile, American consumers spend roughly only 10% of their disposable income on food, which is the lowest, and historically would say the lowest the world has seen. We owe this to hard work, innovation, and modern practices developed on your farms and by those partners in science who never stop trying to get better. When I hear people say that something needs to change in agriculture, I say, yes, United States ag changed yesterday, it's changing today, and it will surely change tomorrow. This is just how we do things in this country. But what has stayed the same for far too long are the broken systems in Washington, D.C., including at the USDA, that haven't been updated in decades. It's time we make it easier, not harder, for you to own, operate, and expand your farms. That is why I am proud to work with the Department of Government Efficiency, otherwise known as DOGE, to refocus the USDA on its core mission of serving farmers and ranchers, not far-left climate agendas or DEI programs. So let me make one thing clear. After 4 years of remote work, USDA's doors are open for business again. Whether you need to stop by your local FSA or RD office, or you want to come see us in Washington, you will find our staff working in person. We have a singular mission, and that is to serve all of you. We are also following the President's directives to review contracts, personnel, and wasteful spending. USDA's current budget is $230 billion, and only a small fraction of that goes to supporting you, our farmers. We are going line by line by line through the budget to root out wasteful programs, especially ones that focused on diversity, equity, and inclusion, and far-left climate agendas, and then actually repurposing that for you and doing what's best for your farms. For instance, oh boy, wait till you hear some of these examples. To date, we at USDA have terminated about 340 contracts totaling $300 million, including identifying and canceling 948 DEI employee trainings. So USDA was spending taxpayer dollars and almost 1,000 trainings that focused on diversity, equity, and inclusion. We've cut millions in media subscriptions, such as to Politico and others that don't necessarily align with our values. We even slashed a grant for $200,000 for a Brazilian forest and gender consultant. And perhaps one of my favorite was we canceled a contract that worked to bring 300,000 and something diversity, equity, and inclusion into pest management, because apparently the cockroaches need a little DEI training, everybody. You can't make this up. And I know you all are following a lot of this. But at the same time, I know this review process has caused concern, and I don't say any of this flippantly. I know that among you who have participated in long-standing USDA programs, in many instances, you had no way of knowing whether these programs were funded through the Farm Bill or through the latest IRA funds from Joe Biden. Today, I am happy to share with you that on the flip side of where we're downsizing and right-sizing, we have completed our review and are releasing the funds that I know many of you are working with for the Environmental Quality Incentive Program, EQIP, the Conservation Stewardship Program, CSP, and the Agriculture Conservation Easement Program, ASEP. So we are releasing those funds back to you all who participate in those programs. And we are still under review. When I say our team works hard, I mean they work 7 days a week, 20 hours a day as we're going line by line at the President's direction. We're still reviewing other programs to make sure that they are focused on making American agriculture the most competitive in the world and moving our industry into greater prosperity than perhaps we have seen in our lifetime. Gone are the days when the USDA will be advancing the Green New Deal. Gone are the days that the USDA will be advancing diversity, equity, and inclusion. And instead, we will only advance deals that will advance those that put our farmers and our ranchers and our ag community first. I also know that many of you, and you have mentioned it to me in my last 2 weeks, I've been across the country. I think I've spoken to almost 200 farmers directly through different and various communications efforts, roundtables, one-on-one phone calls. It's been really important to me that I connect directly with you, the producer, that I don't just sit in this big office in Washington, and look out over the mall and see the Washington Monument. It's actually a pretty cool office, but still, that I'm not there very much, that instead I am out with all of you and hearing your concerns. I know that part of that conversation has been patiently awaiting more details on the disaster and economic relief passed by Congress this past December. And given the dire state of the farm economy in the last 2 weeks since I've been on the job, we have been working very diligently and as quickly as humanly possible, understanding the urgency of getting these funds out the door. Our approach is guided by 3 principles. We want the process to be simple, transparent, and fast. My team has been working to stand up this process. Today, I am proud to announce that the Economic Assistance Program will be called the Emergency Commodity Assistance Program, ECAP. You know, we love the acronyms in ag, don't we? And at USDA. ECAP is the new program to help us distribute that $30 billion in funds that the Congress passed in December. They gave us 90 days to start distributing that first $10 billion in economic assistance, and we are on track to beat that and get that money starting to move immediately in the next few weeks. I've asked my team to think creatively about how to continue to develop a much more streamlined application process, because the last thing we want to be is the bottleneck to get the funds that are so desperately needed. In cases where we have information already on file, a pre-filled application will be sent to you. FSA will use the 2024 acreage reporting data you previously filed to initiate that application process. I mean, this is just common sense. Why wasn't this happening before? Now we're moving into the new era of common sense at USDA. There will also be an opportunity for you to provide this information if you missed that window. You will be asked to review the information, sign, and return the completed application back to your local FSA service center. We are also developing tools to provide for fair and transparent standards for calculating payments. Just in case there was any doubt, it will not be based on DEI metrics, but instead will be based on need regardless of your skin color or geographic location. Which, again, I guess that was happening before. I'm very confused. We are simultaneously working on rapid implementation of the $20 billion in disaster assistance due to weather conditions outside your control. Unlike the previous administration, we will not delay for an entire year, and gone are the days of progressive factoring. No longer will you be required to turn in your tax returns. We will have much more to say on this specifically in the weeks ahead, but it's a new day at USDA. As President Trump works with Congress to extend and perhaps even expand the tax cuts, I will work alongside him to repeal the death tax once and for all. One of my greatest priorities is that we want you to continue the proud legacy of family farms, of second and third and fourth generation, and we got to get the government out of the way in order to allow you to do that. We will be working nonstop to do just that. I got a call on November 23rd from President Trump about this job. I took the call, obviously incredibly honored. Talked to my husband, we prayed about it, talked to my 4 children. They were so excited at this opportunity to serve. But within that first hour, and by the way, y'all, we were driving our RV to Auburn, Alabama to watch the Aggie-Alabama game. We were at a Walmart in Newton, Mississippi. I'll never forget. I will have special love in my heart for that Walmart forever. But my second call that I made was about the Farm Bill. And how do we get the Farm Bill across the finish line for all of you this year? It is inexcusable that that has yet to happen. And I understand there are a lot of factors out of the control of those who are making the decision, but there is a new game in town, my friends, and we will do everything we can. And my commitment to you is that we get a Farm Bill done by the end of this year. Pray for that, help us fight for it, and let's get it across the finish line. Together, I do believe we can avoid punting a full 5-year farm bill for a third time and instead provide production agriculture the certainty you need to plan for the future. You deserve that, and I believe Congress will deliver with help from all of us. And I know there's also one word that's top of your mind as well, and that is trade. As you can remember, in the first term, President Trump will not forget our farmers. When he's negotiating with foreign leaders, he is the ultimate deal maker, and he is going to ensure that our farmers are being traded fairly by our trading partners. I know firsthand how important trade is to your success, and I am committed as a very top priority to work with this president to travel this world and expand market access for all of our crops and all of our producers around America. Unfortunately, as we know, some of the barriers we face is that some wealthy countries have protectionist policies that discourage innovation, place unnecessary burdens on efforts to feed those in need, and deprive themselves and their countries of American-made products. As Dr. Norman Borlaug, an Aggie icon, if I may say, and others have observed, wealthy populations have many, many problems, while hungry populations have only one. America has never had a famine, and we never will, and that's because of you and your forefathers who have worked the land. That isn't going to change even as agriculture changes. I am working with Secretary Bobby Kennedy as we speak on efforts to make America healthy again, but I am certain that we will do so in a way that does not compromise you and your farms and your farming practices. You can rest assured that I will always stand up for farmers and ranchers and will support the incredible work that all of you do to feed millions of hungry people here at home and around the world. Our farmers play a critical role in fueling our nation and helping the United States reclaim energy dominance. On his very first day in office, President Trump took action to support the year-round sale of E15 gasoline. And I am so looking forward to working with him and with my friend Lee Zeldin at the EPA to make more fuel with the best label, made in the USA. Finally, we're going to carefully review every regulation instituted over the last 4 years and remove all those that stifle your production. As you all know, President Trump loves to get regulations and rules out of the way. If y'all remember when he came down that escalator in 2015, one of the very first things he said was that for every one new regulation, I'm going to get rid of 2. And within our first year in the White House, we got rid of 22 old for every new. In our second year, it was 17 old for every 1 new. In our third year, we got down to 9 for every 1. Rest assured that this administration will never rest until we get government off the back of all of our great innovators and entrepreneurs, but for me, especially for all of you who are tilling the land and ensuring we can feed the world. Finally, under the Biden administration, American ranchers and farmers face many harmful regulations, particularly from the EPA, which has severely limited access to critical crop protection tools, which help increase yields, use fewer inputs, and implement conservation practices. Again, I'll be working with my good friend and longtime policy partner, Lee Zeldin, at the EPA to unleash prosperity in rural America through a massive deregulation project. And most importantly, thank you. And let me end on this. Most importantly, as much as I'm excited, we had our first cabinet meeting last Wednesday to sit in the room where Abraham Lincoln and Theodore Roosevelt and all the great presidents had sat before with their cabinets was overwhelming and surreal. But at the same time, I believe so strongly that God has placed us for this moment in time and that we are called to meet that moment. And my moment is working with all of you to truly make significant change and bring in expected and new era of prosperity that, again, perhaps we've not seen in our lifetime. American agriculture began 4 centuries ago, when neighbors born across an ocean came together in the New World to clear the fields, to build their homes, and to plant crops on the edge of the wilderness. That same spirit animates all of us now, today, in this room in Denver, Colorado. Our farmers who till the fields do not rest from their labor. Neither do our ranchers and our livestock farmers who care for their herds and flocks. And neither do the American mothers and fathers who rely upon us to see their children grow safe and to grow strong. They do not rest, and neither will we. You, America's farmers, know all this. I am proud to be among you, and I'm proud to fight that fight for the most American of industries by your side, and that's all of you. God bless you, God bless America, and I look forward to working with you for these next 4 years. God bless you.